Hey guys, I'm doing another Glitters tech replay. Um, I've learned some things in the past week. I don't always play tech, but when I do, it's to prove a point. Um, I think the general ideas about the tech position, how it's normally played, is kind of like really just bad. And as my skill has caught up with my ideas, I've been able to actually execute. Um, what I like to do, the air player is always gonna want con, so I tell the air player I want a solar for it, and then I can just make one solar and then build the bot factory and then rush out his T1. And this was I was like doing this build on the fly, so it's not like 100% like efficient or whatever, well practiced. I just like learned some things this week and just decided I was gonna go all solar. Um, you'll see around the 10-minute mark, the differences in the things that I'm doing is I'm going to go T2 vehicles as core, and I'm gonna share cons and go front. Some people were inexplicably a 3 Chev was arguing with me, and I didn't notice until like midway. I'm like, oh wait, I'm arguing with a 3 Chev. Like, what? Why am I doing this? But here I can at least demonstrate my ideas. And of course, inexplicably after the game, the guy was making a bunch of excuses and saying that Bulk won the game for us, and he did play pretty well. He didn't make spam, which I didn't like. One of the things, some things that you guys just have to get used to making spam throughout the entire game. It's so essential. Otherwise, and this is something that also applies to 1v1s, but it's so essential to get pawns or grunts because they trade so well against T2 if the T2 is unsupported by its own spam. You can't ever just make another frustration of mine is that people will just make support units and not support them. T2 for the most part needs support. So the basically you I get 2 cons out. Reclaim the rocks. I'll reclaim my factory, and then I'll be making solar. And I should have made an E storage. I'm very, very comfortable with floating this E to my team, though, because that's going to help them make units and win the front. It's not a big deal. It's how do I put this? It's infinitely better than energy conversion. So I was avoiding doing that. Excuse me. If I just float the E to my team, they make units and they win front more, which is great. Now, this is what the word I was looking for earlier is not the most optimized thing ever, but basically whenever I feel comfortable with like having enough to start making A solars, I will. And then I was kind of having trouble making decisions here because you have to decide, like, make the construction turret that costs E or make the solar. I think I can make more get the construction turrets, make more solar, then make the advanced solar. How do I put this? Basically, get like 4 construction turrets up, blow through all my metal, and then start making solar and reclaim the basic solars and turn them into a solar. And my team also, a few of them paid, which was good. If you look at my energy produced right now, it's 284 compared to his 358. But let's look at the bigger picture. He's probably relying on wind. Okay, this is good. He's making advanced solar. He's already started his T2. Metal produced. Inexplicably, I am 800 metal ahead of the other tech, and he actually opened with a comm walk. I already looked at this earlier. Actually, I'd be curious. I think a big chunk of that is I reclaimed my bot factory as soon as I could so that I could make more solars. I'm going to take a look at this real quick. He's at 2.231. If he reclaims that, okay, that got added. I'm still 300 metal ahead. Not sure how that happened. But if we think about it, it's probably if you're gonna leave that mechs open, I didn't think about it this game, but if you're gonna leave that mechs open, just go ahead and let the tech know. Usually I will just I wasn't thinking about this at the time, but usually I will just ping it and claim it, say I'm going to take this, and that'll speed you up a lot. I got to quit smoking. I think it's the seasons changing as well, but my voice my throat's kind of wacky right now. Yeah, I'm still I'm floating this E. What I was more curious about was energy produced. I produced more E than him, even though he went wind. I think part of that is I just optimize a little bit better than him, reclaiming my factory and it's really important to get build power up really fast so that you can blow through all the metal and then get into energy production. And I'm not going to be satisfied until I have like maybe 6 solar, but it turns out I may not have needed that much. But I'll make a vehicle plant and then and then if I'm hurting on metal, so Commander, I'm going to switch to reclaiming to get that metal to get it put into this factory. Reclaim the cons. I don't need the cons anymore. All you need is one T1 con. You can reclaim the rest once you have the build turrets up. So this will be my T1 con. And at some point I will definitely need well, I would probably need e-storage, but it turns out, like, because we were wasting energy, and this time around I was just, what if I just didn't convert it? As long as we're not wasting E. Like, if I see wasting energy up there, that's when I'll make a, whatchamacallit. But yeah, really comfortable supplying this energy to my team. And it's a subtle, it's kind of subtle, but it should translate into a higher army value than the other team if they're not doing this. Simply because we have more E to spend on units. And I'll try not to cut them off on that, otherwise it'd be quite jarring. A lot of these guys seem to have, at this point, even when you're front, you should be doing A-solars at this point, I think. I'm looking at this, and I would definitely be playing, my base building would look a lot different. I'll send my comm over here. Once I stop needing needing it for the build power, that's when I'll send it over here when I hit 0 energy. But we'll be in the process for a while of reclaiming all these solars. So I would definitely go for like 4 con turrets before starting this T2 next time. It'll just get everything done a little bit faster. This is like 600 metal of potential, which is, not great. We'll speed ahead. So the next thing I chose the right time to pause. Nice. So I'm just gonna make one T2 con, and this is where the difference is gonna start being pretty huge. He's got 2 conversion here. So I'm still inexplicably ahead of him. Oh, it's probably because I'm reclaiming. But he's gonna start making fat boys right now. Look at this. This is gonna be. I didn't even notice he made this fat boy, but look at this. We're already ahead 10 metal a second. He's gonna take this fat boy and then float it over here and just do like weird micro things. He's gonna like drop the fat boy here and try to ruin Bulk's day for quite a while. No matter. I'm reclaiming my comet at this point. I've blown through most of the metal.
Commander destroyed.
All right. So all these con turrets, you can build your con turrets all in range of your mech so that you can build them really fast. Bam. So the next thing, the first thing I will do at this point, when I know that when I start making more T2 cons, or I will start making T2 cons when I know that it's not going to stall my other cons, because I'm going to actually upgrade all of my my mechs to T2 first. And you'll look at this. He has 13 metal income to my 80. That might be a little inflated. Let's push forward a tiny bit. Okay, really inflated. I'm like 33 right now. He's got 1 fat boy out. And he's annoying Bulk. I'm not really. I mean, it's doing some damage, but like, all you have to do to counter fat boys is, don't build a bot lab in the range of the cliff. Don't build forward labs. Forward labs are really, really bad for many reasons. One being you have to rebuild your entire base somewhere else in a more vulnerable spot. You don't really need to do that. You can get away with it, and I used to do it a lot. But I'm saying this not because I'm worried about the risk in it getting destroyed. I'm worried in the risk of efficiency. Like, I gotta rebuild my entire boost. Okay, when the reason we worry about travel times is because you're doing something fundamentally wrong, which is staying on T1 bots. As a front player, your goal is to get a bunch of grunts out to get your cons out, and then a bunch of grunts to defend them in like the fastest way possible, and then build up a bunch of cons assisting your factory and building energy production back here, and then transitioning to con turrets, and then going to vehicles. vehicles don't get one or two shotted by fat boys. The only reason fat boys are so oppressive is because people are like fundamentally playing front wrong on glitters, or like in general. Okay, a fat boy takes like 2 shots to take out a thug. And if you look at this, its burst damage is 800, which is takes 2 shots to destroy a thug. And it's okay, there's one player that's made brutes. It takes 3 shots to take out a brute, and brutes are much less likely to clump up. That's another thing. Another thing is vehicles move faster. Specifically, brutes being the mainstay of your army at this point. You can just go around people's fixed defenses and fat boys. Like, a fat boy cannot chase down a tank army. And this will come into effect later and is like very relevant to this tech build and why it works so well. Like my last video. You build a bunch of pork, just go around. Units are actually super OP because they can just go around turrets. They can move and shoot. Someone said that on Discord, and I thought it was hilarious. Like, please nerf units, they can move and shoot. So that's been, like, one of my favorite things to say lately. Yeah, this fat boy is going to be pretty oppressive, due mostly to the fact that this fundamentally wrong thing is happening right now. You see, this is only one fat boy holding down one lane, and he's gonna have to like use this heavy transport to hop around and be annoying at other places. Usually you would see it here. We'll see it later. If we look at the metal, I have a 33 income to his 13. This is going to stack up really quickly. At this point, I produced 1,200 metal to his 8.3. And that alone, if you just think about it, that's 2 or 3 fat boys. I'm not even gonna get into like how I think that every position should just go play front and win the game that way. I don't think you're losing out, but good luck trying to get that tested in a pub lobby. So I was taking these 2 constructors first to complete this mechs, and then they're going to go over here and share. And vehicle cons move faster, so I don't even need to ask for a transport. He asked me for a transport. Some people will just give me a transport, and you know what I'm going to do with that transport is it's going to annoy me by picking up my units and having things like wind up, like going back and forth when I'm like group selecting, stuff like that. It's just not necessary. So the first thing I do when I receive a transport is reclaim it. Now, metal produced, we're already 10k ahead. But that's not really... That just means that we've already won the game before this point. But yeah, separate those out. Energy produced. I want to look at energy produced. I think me floating had a non-zero actual positive impact on the team, because they were able to. But this is annoying. Don't. Conversion is just so dumb on T1. Until everybody learns to pork up like a solid line and there's nothing else to do but scale up, that's when you scale, is when you can't gain anything from making units. But this isn't like so terribly porked up that you should just give up and scale. That's when you scale. But yeah, I think making units is just so infinitely better than making a bunch of wind. And also, I guess we're like overproducing. So like somebody on this team overmade wind, so you definitely have to do something with it. So I mean, I guess this is smart. I will do this myself when there's just nothing to do with all the E, but convert it, because someone is overbuilding wind and not making units and losing a lane because of it. You can at the very least convert it for them when there's someone like this who just arbitrarily makes a bunch of E for no reason.
Commander destroyed.
This is going to progress. Look again at the metal produced at 11 minutes. Gearshack has shared units. He has 10k metal produced. I have 18k. My income is 44 metal. And looks like 610 energy to his 290. Total energy produced, his is 166, mine is 260. And this is a 36 OS player, and well, I'll say this over and over again, and not to single this guy out, but OS is not an accurate measure of skill unless it's like super low. Beyond 30 is when people may be like hyper specialized in one thing. And I would recommend, this is what I did on purpose, is whenever my OS was getting really high doing one thing, I would go back and try something new and let it tank again and learn it. Because I want to be solid at everything and learn the entire game, not just be specialized in one role. And I would play noob lobbies because higher level players aren't always that fun to play with. For many reasons that they just get mad, and the skill variety versus their skill. It's a long list of things, but it's just not like a fun experience. And even when I hop into OP lobbies now, I feel like I'm pretty well rounded out. I still prefer noob lobbies, but I can't join them. I've lost my train of thought at this point. But if you, I think if you play noob lobbies, you can kind of get a little bit more accurate OS. And also playing Rotato, not just Isthmus, and all of that. What is it getting at? Okay, so I'm not gonna scale. I'm only going to make enough energy to build units, and guys, building spam wins games. I can't tell you how many games that were unlosable have been lost because poor unit choices heading into the mid game or later because people did not make spam. So I make it a point like to ask and be specific. I say everyone needs to make their own spam. Everyone is responsible for their own spam. It's not the tech player's job to build spam for you. The tech player doesn't need the tech player ideally should be the only person for quite a while making T2. And everyone else should stay on T1 and get their T2 up. Get spam to support the T2 player going front and running circles around the fat boys. And not make the tech player worry about getting overrun by a smart player on the other team, like going full spam just to counteract the T2. So Blue's gonna be doing all this micro stuff with his fat boy, when in reality he should be definitely upgrading his mexes. This is another thing, guys. If this was my tech player, I would be really mad. This is trolling. Always upgrade at least. Like, even if you wanted, this is so non-standard. I don't know why I always get these matches where like this crazy stuff happens, but before you share units, like at least get 2 T2 maxes up. At the very least. This gap is huge between me and him. I have 6 T2 maxes up to his 0. This is unconscionable. This is just a mistake. So these T2 cons are going to be built so incredibly slow because he has no metal. And while he's made one single fat boy, now I've made Quaker, 2 Quakers, Tigers, solid eco, and I've shared to everybody on my team. Now, I'm going to be microwing front on my own and inexplicably, of course, getting overrun
Commander
by...
destroyed.
I have to back off because the air player's on me, but like inexplicably, I am being given trouble with the most minor amount of spam because no one has made spam. So it's once again my responsibility to make my own spam, which that in itself I'm not mad about. What I'm mad about is that I've begged this team multiple times to make spam and they haven't, and it's just so incredibly important because I can't break through if I'm being bogged down by spam. And also like a combination of like you have to pay attention to front. Like this is a skill that you absolutely have to develop, is to be able to base build and play front. So some of my decisions when I'm doing this is paying attention to who's paying attention. It seems he may have shared 2 fat boys. Well, if this is 14 minutes, and this gap is just 14K to 26K metal produced. And a big chunk of the overall our team's lead is me. And another part of this that is absolutely not something to ignore, but one of the fundamentals of the game is that we are getting all the reclaim. Part of my income has been like I have to get res bots because I'm not gonna get any more mechs. Well, I might get more mechs. I probably should get more mechs, and part of the thing, like first thing I want to do is assist front, and then bring T2 cons up if no one else is claiming the mechs. But I will get res bots up to reclaim the things I'm destroying to pay for more T2. And I'm just gonna like keep going around. Like if I feel like okay, I'm getting bogged down by T1 units and this guy isn't helping me, I'm gonna go somewhere else where someone's going to help me. I'm gonna be dodging fat boys. So when the fat boy goes over here, I'm gonna go over there. When this gets too entrenched, I'm not gonna get tunnel vision on one single lane. I'm just gonna, and this applies to everyone. You can leave your lane if they're not doing anything or they're completely porked up. Just go around. If I feel like I really want to get this fat boy, but I have to be wary of commanders walking around. That's another reason why you need the spam, not only to counter the other team's spam, but to be able to detect the enemy's comms that want to degun all your stuff. So, like, this guy is gonna have so many hoplites. And I remember to put a flak truck on quota. And yeah, I'm just gonna fight this, and may have fought it too long, but okay, well now I can just go over here. Like, this guy's spamming Arquebus, which is, I guess he's allowed to do that because there's no spam. But why do I need to fight these Arquebus? I don't. And another thing is, rovers don't. By spam I mean like T1 bots, grunts or pawns. Grunts are probably better, but like it doesn't matter. Like if you really want to min-max, I guess like go ask for a Cortex con, or even better, just play Cortex because I think it's better. I was trying to play ARM the other day, and I think definitely part of it was I haven't played ARM in a long time, and I don't understand the composition. So I was like, okay, my OS is rising, so I should probably, what's something I haven't learned yet? ARM. And I played ARM, and it just didn't feel good. The T2 tanks are underwhelming. Sharpshooters are good. Starlights are good. But I was running into this thing where no one was making spam, so my Starlights and stuff, like my Banisher Tiger comp didn't translate over well to ARM. And that's, I'm not going to say this 100% because I probably just don't understand units. Like, even as I'm thinking about this, I'm like, maybe I should make Jaguars, but I'm just trying to think of like support units. from the ARM T2 vehicle factory, and I'm just thinking about it, and it's a little underwhelming. Maybe like a tactical missile truck or something would be fine. But this isn't really what that's about. But I personally prefer Cortex, and I have a little bit of a, let's say, an intuition that Cortex is just better and less micro heavy, or I think you can accomplish more with less effort with Cortex. I can say that. But yeah, once this Fat Boy, the Archipus and the Fat Boy were there, and no one was supporting me, so I just go somewhere else. I could go down here, but then he can chase me. But then I was like, why don't I just go down this canyon and clean that up? And then, ooh, spam fiends. I love that so much. Perfect for eating up an entire base of a guy who made windmills instead of units. Bam, bam, bam. And then we're just looking for other opportunities to do damage. Like these arquebus, like any like units that are slow, I don't like bots at all, except for maps that are like, if there was a map that was just one big choke point, maybe. Like I'm thinking Isthmus or something. But then I'm thinking, like, on Isthmus, like, why wouldn't you just go help C? Like, literally, I'm thinking about Isthmus right now, and I'm wondering, like, if the center's bogged down, why not just clear it up with turrets? I mean, clear it up with destroyers and whatever. Don't ignore me. I don't play Isthmus, but I found that Navy is so powerful. You can, it basically like completely negates land units. And this is what happens. They definitely there was one player that got shot. Like Canyon just got rolled, but this guy was like saying like, "Oh, you didn't do anything the entire game," because the guy who was arguing with me. Oh, I was like, "You didn't do anything the entire game," and I will say it was Harkonnen, and Harkonnen has. I mean, I'm just looking at this, and he was just holding a choke point. Like, good for you. He said I didn't do anything all game, but in reality, what I did was deny all of this mechs here, and I out-ecoed the other team. And I didn't have to scale. Like, eventually, at this point, this is when they pork up, and welders are generally really good. Except they're really slow, and you can just go around. But I would say, like, in this situation, that these are like a lose more slowly thing. I guess we can like blow through this really, but the welders will keep them alive for a while, and I'm noticing that things that need to happen for this to get closed out at this stage aren't happening. So at this point, I'm going to start doing... I have to plan my bases out better, but this is when I will... I wish we could blow through this way faster. Maybe if I minimize the OBS, we'll get a little bit faster. Sim speed. But yeah, I'm gonna supply spam to the front. Eventually, when I feel like it's time to start scaling, I didn't make enough contours, so this is really slow. I'm floating metal. I don't want to do that. It was tough microing this base. I would do this better next time, but I just, build a bunch of aphis and then transition. I'm going to get up to 4 aphis here, and this is kind of how it's going to get built. I'm going to space my con turrets in this block and this block 3x3, and then start building the aphis in the center so that they're in range of all the con turrets. I think someone on this team is just floating energy, or I only had one T2 con, so this was kind of fiddly. I have the micro and try to get the most out of everything here. But definitely, I just needed more con turrets. These guys are just holding on. These are like so many hoplites. Maybe he should have been more aggressive. I would never recommend building vanguards or LRPC in the meta that I'm seeing now recently. But yeah, I'm just taking up the Shivas. Red's gonna have his own. It takes me a little... it should take the tech longer to get up to T3 than anyone else. It should take the tech longer to get to T2 than anyone else, really. It's just because he doesn't have as many resources as anyone else, but this is not the world we live in. We live in the world of misconceptions. I think I was gonna get up to the 3rd aphis. I greeted a little bit, and it's like, I'm gonna go T3 after this next aphis, and I make 2 more.
Commander
This
destroyed.
Astraeus is probably not gonna get built before the game is over. It cost 1,100 to build. I really like javelins. They're great. Kiris are great, except they're super degunnable. But that's why you always, throughout the entire game, maintain spam. It's everyone's responsibility to build spam. I'm like, everybody's got their T2. Their tech was struggling to get, like, in order to get like a really fast fatboy out, he sacrifices economy, which is not great. One fatboy is not going to win the game. And here comes the spam. Air player is going to want to bomb, but we have more than enough resources to make a few flak here and there. Inexplicably, that was the tech player that went air. I would say that air is definitely a luxury
Battle ended.
that they could not afford, but like the game was already lost, so yeah. I hope that sums it up. All right. Bye.